All right, hey everybody, welcome to Chiu Stream. It's great to be back. Spent a little time in Calgary, which was wonderful, and you know, great to be back on the stream. So, I have a really awesome challenge for us today, a really awesome exercise today. You can download it from the post just under the video if you're watching this on live stream. If you're watching this on YouTube, you should see a link on there where you can download the template for today's exercise. This is going to be really fun, and it's going to really stretch your imagination and your visualizing skills. This one is slightly more advanced, but even if you're a beginner, I encourage you very, 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 very much to do this anyways, because in the end, it's all about stretching your imagination, stretching your ability to visualize. This is an exercise, okay, people? This is an exercise. So download it and you can paint along with me. You don't have to paint the same thing. I encourage you, if you are a bit more advanced, to go with your own ideas, okay? If you're a bit more beginner, perhaps if you'd like, you can do the same ideas. Okay, so you can adjust according to your own skill levels. Now, this is going to be really fun because right now, we've done a lot of heads already. Everybody's been practicing their heads and everything, and it's been great seeing all the posts. This one gets a lot more creative, which also means a lot more challenging because you can paint anything at this point. Okay, you can paint anything you want. It doesn't have to be a head. It can be, a dinosaur. It can be an old lady's apartment. It could really be anything. You're looking at the compositions here, okay? And you're imagining what could that be. Okay, I'm just starting you off with some very basic compositions, and you're going to try to imagine what could that be and start painting away. This is a really extremely good exercise just for creative thought, coming up with creative ideas. And not just that, but it's a thumbnail. It's a thumbnail of an illustration, right? So not only is it going to help with creative ideas, but it's going to really stretch your technical skills, your compositional skills, everything. And we're doing it on a very small, image. The dimensions are pretty small here, so it'll make sure that you keep things simplified. When you keep things simplified, they're much easier to read, even if it's a very complex idea like a army of orcs versus an army of elves. When you're drawing this small, when you're painting this small, you have to simplify that very complex idea into something very digestible. That's the great thing about it, is that when you're taking very complex ideas and basing them off of a very kind of simple statement, it makes it so much easier for people to absorb, to look at a glance and really get the feeling right away. And hopefully that'll make them want to stare at it even longer. So we're going to start off our stream just like how we start off every stream. Let me know where you're from, and I'm going to give you a bunch of shout outs, okay? A person has already chimed in and said, hello from Fort Eliza. Oh my gosh. Totally butchering this name, and it's quite embarrassing. So I'm just gonna leave it at that and go on to the next ones. Hello, Mexico, Malaysia, Netherlands, Quebec, Poland, Denmark, Venezuela, Germany, Columbus, Ohio, I guess, Brazil, Denmark, Germany. Bunch of Germanys. We're going to Germany. Schoolism is going to Germany. I'll talk about that in a little bit. Malaysia, Brazil. Awesome. Whole bunch of Brazilians up in here, which is fantastic to see. Ukraine, Nina from Ukraine, Portland, Germany. Wow, lots of Germany. Hong Kong, Hungary, Ireland, and the list goes on. New Hampshire and Bulgaria, right on. So, all sorts of people from all over the place: Pennsylvania, Russia, UK, Los Angeles. So glad that everybody can make it. Thank you very much for tuning in. And don't forget, if you are not doing something important right now, why don't you download the work file, the working file, and paint along with me. I remember as I was painting this, is like, what am I trying to do here? I didn't really have an idea. I was just thinking about things that fly out of a central place and start to fan out. And that just became, okay, well, maybe they're kind of like bird kind of like things flying out of this magical container. And then, what can be in those other spaces? Well, perhaps we can fill in those other spaces with people. And you'll see that when you're doing your own, perhaps you have different ideas. Perhaps you have the same idea. Perhaps the lighter area right in the middle is more like a ghosty spirit thing coming out of a fire. So the ghosty spirit gets ever larger and ever more smoky as we go towards the top. It could be something like that. It could be a tree. It could be just this mystical sacred tree, right? Who knows? That's the whole entire idea behind this one, is just taking very simple statements, very simple compositions, and really stretching our imagination to turn them into some interesting ideas. And perhaps, hopefully, you'll get some really great thumbnails by the end of this. Okay, and somebody is already asking me some questions. That's great. For those of you that where it's like your first time on the stream, this is how you're going to ask questions. You're just going to ask them in the chat, and then I'm going to and answer or ask them in the chat by first putting in capital letters, if you can, question, and then write your question. That way I can tell what's a question for me versus what's a comment and things like that. Okay, great. So you can see that a bunch of the figures in the back, I'm just scratching in. I'm not even looking to make two separate legs. I'm just kind of scratching in the idea of a bunch of legs, just making these horizontal or these vertical sketchy marks. And that altogether, when you look at it from a distance, looks like a whole bunch of legs from a crowd. Okay, so like I said, if you have any questions, type them into the chat and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Um, One thing I want to mention was Berlin. A whole bunch of people from Germany on the stream today. Hello, welcome. We are, Schoolism Live workshops are going to Berlin end of May. That's going to be fantastic. We're going to I'm actually not going to be at the Berlin workshop this time. Okay, there's a whole bunch of things I need to do with the Kickstarter that we're doing, the Schoolism subscription Kickstarter, which, by the way, I'm giving away a free 1 year subscription, okay, to the Schoolism classes that everybody's been talking about. All you need to do is go to facebook.com/bobby.chiu, Chiu, and you can look at the very first post there. Okay, the very, very first post, you can go there, click like, share it on your page, as well as comment. Let me know which class you would take if you won the 1 year subscription. Okay, and that's it. And then I'm gonna pick randomly at the end of the talk here, and I'm gonna select from Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Okay, so Twitter, Bobby Chiu. That's my username on there. You can find me on there and retweet the tweet that I just put. Or else you can go to Instagram, Digital Bobbert on Instagram, and you could repost that to have a chance to win as well. Okay, so all sorts of ways to participate, and I'm going to choose one of those avenues in the end, randomly, select somebody and just give them a 1 year subscription to Schoolism. It's all about promoting, uh, I, learning hardcore, uh, and just really hyping up our skills. So let's see here. Let's go on to some other things I want to mention. But I just mentioned about the Kickstarter, the Schoolism Kickstarter. There's 26 days left. Okay, 26 days left. It's really winding down. And today, what I asked for my team to do is to expand the rewards. So we actually just expanded the rewards just a few minutes ago. And if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely check it out as well. We expanded the rewards so that, a lot of the earlier rewards were taken up. They were sold out. And they sold out a lot faster than we thought. So just a couple hours, or just a few minutes ago, actually, we opened up those earliest rewards so that you can get your reward uh, really nice and early. I think the earliest is in June, okay, for your year subscription or your whatever, however many months you're taking. But definitely the year subscription is so worth it because that puts the price of Schoolism classes down to $10 a month for you, which is actually lower than what is going to be the official subscription based model when we're done the Kickstarter and everything. Okay, so the only way to get it that cheap, $10 a month, is to pledge for, the 1 year or the 2 year plan. Okay, which we opened up. So get on it, and good luck because they're gonna go fast. When will the subscription start for everyone else? Well, there's different delivery dates on the different rewards, so you can take a look and see when those subscriptions will start. We will try to start things faster uh, if so desired by you guys. We're going to do our very best, okay? Just like the Nico and the Sword of Light campaign that we did, a lot of people got their rewards even a month earlier. Um, so we're going to try to do the same thing. Okay. So, will I be at the Berlin workshop? No, I won't. Not this time. But you know who will? Holy smokes. There's very, 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 very few people that I would call a master at painting. And one of them is my very good friend Paula Zane, and he's going to be going to Berlin, teaching 3 killer painting techniques within his 4-hour workshop. It's going to be insane. Paula Zane, he's insane. That's so lame. Um, Marcelo Vignali is also going to be there. He's going to be doing, he's going to be teaching life drawing in a way where it is very much geared towards designers to expand your designing muscles, which is going to be fantastic. Now, the last person that's going to be there is another one of my artistic heroes and one of my best friends, Mr. Steven Silver. He's going to be there teaching you all sorts of awesome, awesome things about character design, and you're going to be taking away so many notes, so many precious nuggets of knowledge from that weekend. Definitely go and check it out. And if you're waiting for the London workshop, unfortunately, there is no London workshop this year. So get on the Berlin workshop because it's not every day that you're going to have, the art director of Lord of the Rings coming to teach how to paint. You know, You're not gonna have like the production designer, art director at Sony, animation coming to teach, and all sorts. And obviously, Steven Silver, everybody knows him as quite the legendary um, superstar of character design. So that's going to be great as well. And you can see that I'm already on the second composition. So try to get going. If you're still on the first composition, hey, pick it up. Let's go. Let's do this. Pick up the pace. You want to try to allocate maybe just 10 minutes uh, per composition you if you're ready for that. Okay, if you're very, very much a beginner and what you seem to be painting are just scratches, take a little bit more time. Okay, and you can see that the other thing I want to point out here is that I'm not completely sticking to the compositions, right? I'm not drawing exactly the same shape, even though altogether it does kind of feel, it still retains that original composition. Okay, now let's see. Um, let's go to the first question here. Okay, so first question goes, any good ideas of how to visualize the storytelling? It's really hard for me to come up with a story and put it in a single image without making a mess. This is the perfect exercise for you. You see how it's going? Um, for those of you that haven't seen the streams before this, definitely check it out because it's almost like a curriculum. It starts off a bit more basic in the beginning. You can go to youtube.com/digitalbobbert. It's like Robert except Bobbert. Okay, and you can go there, and there's a playlist there, which is called drawing exercises. Okay, so when you've done this, you could go back to those ones and just do one a day. That's that's my advice to you. Do one a day, okay? And it's all about visualizing, all about drawing exercises to make your drawings and paintings more and more effective, better and better, and most of all, your ability to visualize better and better. Because guess what? When you can visualize something super clear, all of a sudden your painting becomes so quick that it just kind of helps everything actually. Visualizing is the most important, the hardest way to think, the hardest way to really master and think. Because if you think about it, pretty much everything that we learn revolves around the ability to visualize. For example, I learn about muscles under the skin so that when I look at a person, I can visualize those muscles, right? And that way I'd be able to draw that person better. It's like knowing what's in the grocery bag before drawing a bag full of groceries. It's so much easier once you know what's in the grocery bag. Okay, let's go to the next question here. Word on the street is you've worked on a graphic novel. Any tips on getting into that industry? I have some original series I'd like to publish someday. So, okay. Yes, I've worked on a graphic novel. It was a 10-pager for an anthology for Superman. Dream job. DC Comics dream job. Are you kidding me? But you know what? The most respect going out to all the comic book artists out there because you guys work super stinking hard. After a while, I just had to quit. I did 2 pages, and that was like the only job I ever quit. I think, as far as I remember. Simply because it was just taking up too much time. Honestly, it was just taking up way too much time. Um, in the grand scheme of things, you're working in the movies. Um, Generally, you're charging per day. It's not like I have to get a page done before I get paid, that kind of thing. And I'm a character designer, so once I draw a character well, like it's done, right? Like I draw a character, okay, that's a good character. I don't need to draw that character anymore. But Superman, I draw him once and then I gotta draw him again and again and again. And I didn't think that would bother me. But I realized that that's not what I like to do at this moment, perhaps later on, but not at this moment. Right now, what I like to do is I like to problem solve designs, character designs. So in the end, it didn't really work out for me. How did I get in there? They just approached me. I guess, one of the best ways to get in there is first make a name for yourself. To get in anywhere, to make a name for yourself. Social media is so much more important than before, than ever before. It's surprising how fast people will, a certain generation might not know of a certain artist because that artist doesn't have social media. I remember Craig Mullins came to a Toronto Schoolism workshop, and a younger person didn't know who Craig Mullins was, even though that person loves digital painting, is obsessed. That's what the person wants to do. Yet he doesn't know the very first, most influential digital painter ever, which was Craig Mullins. And you can see right there on the link, um, we actually have an exclusive Craig Mullins interview on the Kickstarter page, which you guys can check out. This man is not just a super master of what he does. He didn't just influence a whole genre, a whole army of digital painters. He didn't just evolve the industry with his digital paintings. He's also extremely elusive. For many years, we couldn't even find a picture of him, on the internet. So having the honor to interview the man, the legend, Craig Mullins, wow, what a wonderful experience that was. And you can check it out by going to our Kickstarter page and going to the updates there. I believe it's update number 3. Um, and you could just go to our Kickstarter page by going to either clicking on the link that you see there if you're watching this on YouTube, or you can go to schoolism.com and front page image our Kickstarter. Okay, you could click on that to get to the Kickstarter page. Um, let's go on to the next question. Okay, but actually, before we move on to the next question, hey, if you have an original series and you'd like to publish it someday, you're living in the right time, my friend, because you can publish it, just self-publish it even. If you want to get into the comic book industry, what I say is just go and do it. Just start putting out something. Just, independently publish it, independently, um, you know, print it out, sell it at conventions, things like that, or internet, right? A digital version, a web version, perhaps. Some of the biggest Kickstarter projects that get funded, that's an art project, they were web comics for years and years. And then all of a sudden they go to publish it and everybody wants in. And all of a sudden everybody's pledging, sometimes over $1 million altogether. So you're living in a great time. If you think about it, okay, say, a lot of French comic books. I found out recently, maybe they have distribution of 5,000 copies, maybe 10,000 copies. Now, within those 5,000 copies, what is your percentage as the artist? You know, say it's 20%. I don't even know, but say it's 20%. Well, then that means if you published it independently, you only need to sell 20% of 5,000 copies. to make just as much as going with a publisher. Publishers are great, but I'm saying if you want to get into the industry quickly, and you don't have it in yet, just do it yourself. It's a great time for that. It's a really, really great time for that. Let's go to the next question here. So the next question says, will I be able to bug you and everyone else at San Diego Comic-Con like every year? Heck yeah. Come on down. Those are really the best places to converse and everything. Nowadays I don't even read my own emails. Um, just because if I had to go through all of my own emails, I wouldn't be able to get anything done. So I actually have my assistant go through my emails and tell me which ones I need to respond to. So the best time to ask me a question or anything like that is on the Chew stream first and foremost, and of course at something like the Comic Cons. We do four or five big Comic Cons a year. That's it. Or at the workshops. The workshops are always an awesome opportunity to ask the instructors questions and things like that. Okay, let's go on to the next question, which is how to focus the learning process to get it more subjective and not thinking too much of techniques when you're learning. Boom! These exercises, I'm telling you, because these exercises, it really keeps everything so open to creative thought, right? I'm giving you just the training wheels, just a base to start from. And of course, this one is extremely imaginative because it's not even dependent on a subject, right? The other ones were, okay, this one's going to be different profiles of heads, different profiles of a man's head, a woman's head, straight on view, three-quarter view, all that kind of stuff. This one, it could be anything. I'm just starting you off with very simple shape-oriented compositions, and you're going to go in there and you're going to paint it up and figure out what can you do with this. And this is also such an effective and great exercise because a lot of these ideas, perhaps they turn into prints, perhaps they turn into who knows what, a whole entire story, right? That's the great thing about this. So not only is it an exercise, but it could turn out to become a print. It could turn out to become whatever. And even though if you're painting this, from my own compositions, obviously I'm not going to be like, oh, you copied, you should give me credit or something like that. No. These are so simple. These are such simple compositions that it doesn't really matter what you do. It's going to be different from everybody else. And it's going to be so original that by all means, make them into prints, make them into whatever you want and sell them off and, whatever. It's great. If you guys can do that, hey, that's awesome because not only are you practicing and learning art and doing great, healthy art exercises, but you're going to be making some prints out of it as well, which is awesome. So here, what's the idea here? It started off as a very simple composition, and now it's turning into, this kind of narrow pathway, and there's two explorers. And what I'm thinking is perhaps these two explorers see something. They see a creature there in the little bit of an opening as they rounded the bend. Um, that's what I'm currently thinking. Okay, but yeah, don't get too caught up in techniques. That is the trend of this, like, decade. I don't know. Because, like, once somebody tells you a certain function in Photoshop or how to manipulate certain functions, press certain buttons, and you didn't know that before, it's like adding this nice little candy coating on top of whatever you're doing. And yeah, a lot of times it will look better. And then we get caught up in that and we're like, wow, that only took like 5 minutes to make my stuff evolve and change and, make it look better. But underneath it all, every artist says this. It's all about the fundamentals. Techniques will only take you so far. Fundamentals will take you from one piece of software to another piece of software to a whole nother medium to sculpting to whatever. Fundamentals transcend all of that and are applicable to pretty much every kind of art that you're doing. This is going to be wonderful because above fundamentals, even more important, is visualizing. That encompasses everything. Okay, so let's go to the next question here. The next question here says, is there going to be a workshop in Singapore this year? I sure hope so. You're hearing it here first. I sure hope so. We are attempting to do the first schoolism workshop in Singapore, so I hope it happens. Next question here. That one was pretty easy. Next question here says, hey Bobby, it says the estimated delivery to back the Kickstarter is July 2015. Have do we have to start in July or can we activate it at a later time? I'm on another schoolism course at the moment. So the different rewards have different delivery dates. Okay, so the one that you're looking at is the one specifically that's saying it will start in July. There's different delivery dates to start in August, June, October, whatever, all the way up to December. Okay, so just pick the one that kind of goes with whatever you want the most, and yeah, should be great. And definitely, if you guys want to get in on earlier subscriptions, you want your subscriptions to start earlier, like June, July, August, take a look at the rewards right now because they're going to go quick. Okay. The first batch went very quick. Okay. So let's go to the next question here. The next question says, if you enroll in a schoolism class as a subscriber, do all the weeks of class videos and materials become available to you right at the start of the class? Or do they roll out week by week? They are given to you all at once. Okay, you get the whole entire thing, the whole entire course all at once so you can kind of binge watch and just go do all the assignments, as quick as you can, and then go on to the next one and the next one and the next one. Okay, so you can see very simple composition. I'm still very much sticking to that original composition. I did add a creature kind of like at uh, this main kind of focal point, and you kind of look from there to the people in the distance and back to the creature again and so on and so forth. But yours, who knows what yours is up to? What are you doing with yours? It could be anything. It could be, in outer space on a giant spaceship, in a giant spaceship. Who knows? And that's the beauty of this exercise. All these exercises are meant for you to strengthen your ideas, your style, not mine. It's not meant for you to all of a sudden draw like me. That wouldn't help you. That wouldn't help you as much, anyways, because there's already a Bobby. We need to have you become your own artist, right? And that's what's so wonderful about these exercises here. Strengthens your style, your ideas. It works with everybody that I've given these exercises to. So make it a habit. That's the most important thing about this, is that you want to make it a habit. You want to be very consistent. And even though it might be hard to start a new habit in the beginning, keep going. Mindlessly keep going and just do it consistently until it becomes a habit, and you're going to see that it's like a really, really great habit to have. Okay, next question here. What is your experience or opinion on getting into the industry, bigger studios, without an art degree? Um, for me, you know, what I wanted to do wasn't to work in a big studio. It's to work with big studios. Okay, so I've worked with DreamWorks, Blue Sky, Sony, Blizzard, I don't know. The list goes on, Disney and all that stuff. All the big ones except for Pixar. Unfortunately, I would love to work with Pixar, but hasn't happened yet, right? Um, so working with them, for me, it was all about working in my studio in Toronto for them. And like I said, with the comic book thing, the best thing that you could do is really just make a name for yourself. Because most jobs have come to me instead of me going to them. And those are usually the best jobs when they are approaching you and you're not asking for a job, you see, because um, just because of the whole dynamic, I'm sure you understand that. Um, the experience, getting into a bigger studio, it's awesome because you're working on with really great people, and who doesn't want to do a really big project? But as well, I always found that's much more important to work with great people as opposed to some huge project with a bunch of people that aren't so great to work with, right? It's much more satisfying in the end, for me anyways, to work with really just great people as opposed to artists. And that's why a lot of times, or as opposed to big projects. And that's why a lot of times you'll see the same actors working together, the same director working with the same actors like Johnny Depp and Tim Burton. Obviously they get along, right? And when you have to work with somebody new, it's a little nerve-wracking. It's a little like you just hope, oh man, I hope this person's going to be okay. I hope they're going to be a nice person to work with, things like that. And it's a little bit more nerve-wracking. Um, At the same time, I want to mention that all of these things, everything that, I'm saying, it might not be the ultimate way. Okay, many of them, there could be other ways to go about, getting into comic books and things like that. What I want to, ask you guys to do is think for yourselves. Okay, think for yourselves. This is such an important thing, especially nowadays where you can pretty much find every answer off the internet, off of Google or whatever. You could just Google it. It's a freaking verb, for crying out loud. Before Google, what did we have to do? We had to sit there and think about it. If we couldn't find a book, we had to sit there and think about it and to think about our own answers. And that's something that's totally missing these days. What's the purpose of that? How can you benefit from that? How can you benefit from thinking about your own answers? In so many ways. If you are not looking up answers all the time and you're thinking about what makes sense to you, your own answers, you're literally, that's like your best chance to actually evolve the industry, evolve yourself, yes, but perhaps even evolve the world, because no longer are you searching for a pre-existing answer. You're searching for your own, which could have you stumble upon a completely new method, a completely new answer, whatever it might be. Um, let's go on to the next question. Okay. So before we go on to the next question, main takeaway is that for everything that you hear, everything anybody tells you. Think about it. See if it makes sense to you. Okay? If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. If what I'm saying doesn't make sense, absolutely don't do it. But here's the thing. If things do make sense to you, and it is, you hear it, the answer, you hear the suggestion, and it totally makes sense to you that it's going to help you out if you did this and this, you have to do it. You have to. Don't procrastinate. Don't wait. Do it now. Because too many of us know exactly what we need to do, what we should be doing, and don't actually do it. We should be going to the gym. We should be eating better, or whatever it might be. You know, it's important to constantly do the things that you know you should do. Like wake up early to do your own art. To really think about what it is um, you want to do with your life. What is your ultimate goal? If you don't have an ultimate goal, you're kind of just drifting through life and just letting life kind of steer you wherever it wants. When you have an ultimate goal, it just becomes so much easier to get there. The most important ingredient to a successful career, I think, is being able to define exactly what you want. Once you have a target, you can aim and you can get closer and closer to that target. You see what I mean? So dreaming about your target, dreaming about your goals makes, is also incredibly important. Dreaming is the lifeblood of success. So what is your dream? If you don't have a dream yet, definitely think about it and come up with one. Dedicate yourself to it. Dedicate yourself to continuous improvement until you get there, as if your future depends on it, because it does. That's the great thing about art, is that you don't have to be 6'6". You don't have to be, uh, a certain height, weight, a certain skin color, a certain look, or anything. You just need to be able to pick up a pencil or brush and work on your craft. And the other great thing about art is that all you need to do is afford a piece of paper and a pencil, and you can do it. You don't need a lot of money. You don't even need pencil and paper. Sometimes you can just find some dirt in the ground, mix some water, and draw with a stick even. You know, that's the incredible thing about art. You can make it out of anything. And the other awesome thing about art is that it doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter if you're royalty. It doesn't matter if you are flat broke or if you're super rich. You can't get skills unless you put in the effort. There is no pass. Everybody needs to earn it, which is such an awesome thing about art. It's the ultimate kind of equalizer. Good skills don't develop from drawing once in a while. It takes dedication, it takes consistency. And the best thing of all is that anybody can do that. We all have that choice. Okay, let's go on to the next question here, which is, are you going to Trojan Horse? Are you going to Trojan Horse was a unicorn? No, I'm not. The one in Portugal sounds really cool. Uh, Never been, don't know too much about it, but sounds really, really cool. Um, let's go to the next question. When painting, how do you break through a creative block when you find yourself reverting to similar color schemes? exercises. Try to make up some good exercises. And we will get into color exercises as well later on um, in these streams and everything. So definitely just keep staying tuned. Uh, One very simple thing that you can do, make a folder on your computer that says color schemes or something like that. And every time you see something that has a neat color scheme, I don't care if it's a beautiful painting, a photo, maybe a Hello Kitty belt, I don't know. Okay, but if you see a bunch of colors and you're like, that looks kind of cool, as a color scheme, that looks cool, put it into that folder. And then the next time you want to, paint perhaps um, a candy universe, maybe you pull out the picture of the Hello Kitty product, like I was saying, and then you base your color scheme around a belt. Who knows, right? So that's a really great way to get you out of a creative block when you find yourself always going back to the same color schemes. Let's go on to the next question here. So the next question says, as far as your marketing goes, have you read any good marketing books you'd recommend? Ho ho. The Purple Cow Effect. It's a bit of an older book, not super old, but it's definitely the first one I think of. Marketing, um, it needs to be special these days to get through the clutter. Okay, let's go on to the next question here. I just started drawing recently, and I'm unsure what I should focus on in the first 3, 6, or 12 months. What is the best way to build the fundamentals without spreading yourself too thin? Kind of like muscles, when you're in the gym, you're not going to do jumping jacks, push-ups, and sit-ups all at the same time, right? You're going to concentrate on certain muscle groups. Well, thinking in terms of color, line, uh, you know, light and shadow, all those kind of things, think of those as different groups of muscles. Think of subject matters as different groups of muscles, right? You want to isolate those things and work on them uh, exclusively in a way where you're really aiming to learn and understand. So, you know, paint from life, draw from uh, photos, draw from other people's art, draw from your own imagination, and do these exercises every day. Because these exercises that I'm putting up on YouTube, these are specifically in an order that will help to really exercise your brain in terms of all of those things, drawing, painting, whatever. We haven't gotten into color yet, but it's not like you can't just start doing color anyways, right? This is very much just about creating composition. Um, let's go on to the next question here. Sorry for this one, but how the heck can I share in Instagram? Oh, you have to get a repost app. Okay, and then if you look for Instagram repost or something like that, and you can download an app there. And by the way, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the stream shortly, so definitely, share on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook right now if you want a chance to win. Okay, win a free subscription to Schoolism for 1 whole year, and of course, it's totally worth it to just go to Kickstarter, um, or go to schoolism.com to find our Kickstarter and go on there and pledge for like a year or 2 years, because how can you go wrong? It's like $10 a month uh, for those courses. Or yeah. Um, let's see here. What's the next question? If you take the classes for the cheapest price of $10 a month, how many months are we talking here? So there's two rewards that go as low as $10 a month. One is the 1 year subscription, so it's 120 bucks for 1 year, $10 a month. It's like the price of a dinner, a cheap dinner in North America, anyways, uh, once a month. Everybody can afford that in North America, anyways. And even if you're in a developing country, you can save up for that. And that's the whole entire purpose of the Kickstarter is because in an ideal world, it shouldn't matter what you do for a living, who your parents are, where you happen to be born. Everybody should deserve the best education, and it should be very much based on just how hard you work at your craft with all that top knowledge. Are you actually practicing this stuff? Are you actually doing the assignments? That is what should really determine how well we do, in our careers. It shouldn't matter that it's just because we could afford the education. And that's what I'm really trying to change here. I've been on this mission for a long time, for over 10 years. Started off just teaching people on the subways of Toronto for free. Whoever wanted to meet me and learn from me, I would teach them for free if they met me on the subways of Toronto every Sunday back then. And we did that for 5 years. But it just wasn't enough. It didn't hit my absolute dream of really just changing art education, making it not just available for everybody, not just affordable for everybody, but the best teachers in the world, the top level artists in the top level studios teaching us what they know. How do you think I educated myself? A lot of people, they don't even remember that when I graduated from college, I couldn't get a job. I wasn't ready yet. A lot of people, they don't know that when I was in school, there was no digital painting class because nobody knew how to do digital painting. None of the teachers knew. And I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to teach, two or three of the digital painting teachers that ended up teaching digital painting at Sheridan. I was the one that taught them. You got to go to the industry people to learn the top level stuff. The people that are doing the stuff right now, that are pushing the envelope. You don't become a master chess player by learning from amateurs. You got to search out the masters of the world, the master chess players of the art industry, and get them to teach. It doesn't matter if you're going to schoolism or whatever. This is just a basic fact. So it's been my mission to make that stuff available for everybody, and now it's my mission to make it affordable for everybody. And the more people that pledge on the Kickstarter, the lower we can get the price of the subscription when the Kickstarter is all over and done. Okay, so if you believe in the same things that I'm telling you, how education should be, pledge for it. If you can't pledge for it, share it. If you can't share it, then I don't know, maybe you're living under a rock or something. Because anybody can share it, anybody can tell their friends and stuff like that. Okay? Um, so we just have a few minutes left. Let me try to get to some of these other comments here. Sorry to talk so much about the Kickstarter because it really literally is one of my lifelong dreams, my lifelong goals to be able to put my stamp in the world by helping people out, by getting them the education that they want and deserve. Okay, let's go on to something else here. Let's go on to the next question. So, okay, next question is about Kickstarter. For the Kickstarter, is it possible to start in June, even if I pledge for a later package? It is possible. Okay, we will try to get everybody their pledges as soon as possible. It's just not guaranteed. Okay, the month delivery date, that is the guaranteed latest month that you're going to get the pledge. But we will try our hardest, just like the Nico and the sort of light Kickstarter. We got most of everybody their pledges early and sometimes a month early. And hopefully we can do the same, maybe even earlier with the Schoolism Kickstarter. Okay, let's go to the next thing here. But something I want to mention, even though this whole entire idea of making education completely affordable for everybody, hopefully just a secondary thought, not even a secondary thought, $10 a month or $12 a month, um, about the cost of their education, right? Even though that is my goal, and it has been for a bit over 10 years now, it really is much more, just about the the road that we decided to travel. It's not as important, or it's much more important than the actual destination. You see what I'm saying? Like, making art education affordable is much more important about the journey that I was taking, or I've been taking for the last 10 years, to me, than the actual destination. So in other words, just enjoy the ride, wherever you are in your own kind of goals, your own kind of stuff. Perhaps it's becoming a concept artist for movies and things like that. And right now you're living in a shack, you're living in your parents' basement or whatever it might be, scraping every penny together and things like that. I'm telling you, enjoy it. It's much more about this journey that we're all taking through life than the destination that hasn't even happened yet. Before you know it, the moment's going to be gone and it'll be gone forever. So enjoy what's happening now, really. I remember we were working on the first Alice in Wonderland years and years ago, where it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and who knows what this movie's going to do, if it's going to even come out, because that was the sixth movie project that I worked on, and none of the other ones came out, which happens a lot. It's like 5-10% of the development, projects in development actually make it all the way. So I remember just going onto the balcony and just kind of staring off at the traffic and everything below, and just thinking to myself, let's just take a break and really just enjoy this moment. Just to enjoy the fact that I'm actually working on this thing, instead of worrying about, is it going to come out? How's it going to do? Is this painting good? Is it painting bad? Whatever. Sometimes it's really great to just take the time to just really appreciate and enjoy whatever's happening in your life right now. You know? Okay. Let's go to um let's go to let's pick a winner. Okay, so before I was picking, I think last time I picked somebody from, I don't know, Facebook, perhaps. I forget. today I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to I don't want to make it too much of a pattern here. So, you know what? We're going to do Facebook 2 times in a row. Switch it up on people because I can see a whole bunch of people sharing on um, Twitter and things like that. We're going to go back to Facebook, switch it up. So I think everybody's kind of catching on to a pattern I didn't even know about. Okay, so I'm just going to scroll through, randomly stop, and Riley Phillips. Riley Phillips, you have just won a free 1-year subscription to a schoolism class of your choice, and you can switch for $1 as well, in case anybody didn't know. You subscribe, but then you can also switch classes for $1 if you're curious about another class. So anyways, Riley, congratulations. I'm going to be sending you a message on Facebook, okay, to get your info and get you your subscription. So congratulations to Riley. All right. Couple things I wanted to leave you with, okay? Our experiences, what I want to say was our experiences shape us, but it's what you choose to do with your experiences that really make the difference. It doesn't matter if you're raised in a bad environment. It doesn't matter if you're raised in a good environment. Nothing is guaranteed, right? It really, so much of it depends on you and how you're going to react to your situation. If your parents are loaded, are you just going to sit there and do nothing with your life and just kind of take advantage of the fact that you are living in a family that is very well off? If there's bad stuff all around you, does that mean that everybody within that bad area is going to also turn out bad? No. There's always examples out there of people that had perhaps a bad childhood, a bad experience, whatever it might be, and they turn out great. There's always that. So keep that in mind when you are trying and you get discouraged because perhaps you have a lot of challenges in your life, things like that. Guess what? Those always make the best stories. It's those big challenges, the people that had to get through a lot of adversity, things like that. And you're a great story that is about to be written, your life, and if you want. It really all depends on what you choose to do, with your experiences, with your life. Okay? So I'm going to leave you guys with that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Tune in next time, Tuesday. We're going to do this again. Chiu Stream, Tuesday, same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific. Thank you very much for joining me, and have a wonderful, wonderful day. Take care, everybody. Schoolism is an art educational organization that has been offering high-quality education for professionals and art students through online courses and live workshops around the world. At Schoolism, we hold true to this. Great education begins with great mentors. And now, our newest mission is to take our library of courses and make it affordable and accessible to everyone through Schoolism subscriptions. After this Kickstarter, pledgers will be able to access knowledge in minutes that has taken the most successful and famous artists in animation, film, and illustration and more their entire careers to learn. And pledgers can access it for less than the price of a dinner each month. Kickstarter backers will receive a special rate of as low as $10 a month for any Schoolism course. And the more pledgers we get,
the lower we will keep the prices when we introduce the permanent format on schoolism.com. If you want to excel in art, then this may be the most important Kickstarter you will ever pledge for. The money we gain from this Kickstarter will be used to create more great courses and content for our website, but more importantly, the momentum of this campaign will allow so many more artists out there the same opportunities for great education that they couldn't afford before. Be a part of art education history and pledge today.